Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video. You can see we're back at Ian Tyrrell's workshop for another Espada update. I can't believe this is part 4. Some of the parts have come back from machining and things. We're just going to discuss some details, valve springs and stuff like that. And there's been some work on the Espada as well, on the actual body and the roof, etc. But I also want to have a quick look at this. This is a lovely Miura 400S that was recently sold by RM Auctions in London. Ultra original condition. It was quite a remarkable car. I went down to see the sale because I was really keen to see what this was going to make. It's been sort of owned for some time in one family, and Ian's also doing some work on that. So I thought while we're here, it'd be hard to resist just a quick look round that as well. So anyway, let's go down and see what I've got to show on the bench. Ian's going to show us what he's been up to in the last few weeks. Well, hello Ian, here we are again.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, part 4.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's all laid out, but it looks particularly shiny since I was last here and painted and just lovely.
We've done the heads, so these are now skimmed,
right.
And we've also done the inserts in the valve guides. So there's the right amount of play now.
Right. So you don't actually push the valve guides all the way out. You actually machine.
Well, yeah. There's a type of insert. It's called a K-line system, and you actually get rid of the centre of the valve guide, put a new sleeve within, so it's like a sleeve in a sleeve, and then ream that out. And but you have to be careful because you don't want it off centre with the seat.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise, you're starting to dig into the seat too much.
I mean, these look lovely as well. So we've got new seats in as well, or they just
they're just recut. The interesting thing is we can reuse the original valves on this because I don't think I've explained this, but on the difference between Ferrari and Lamborghini engines of this era, the Ferrari and Maserati used sodium-cooled exhaust valves.
Oh yes,
which are hollow stem with a shot of sodium in them, which flies up and down the valve, and it transfers the heat from the head to the top of the stem and then dissipates through the engine through the valve spring.
The sodium is bouncing up and down in a hollow bit, like a bicycle pump sort of hollow thing.
Exactly.
Good lord.
And that technology was first used in aeroplane engines in the 1930s, high performance aeroplane fighters and things. But it carried on right the way through. Ferrari and Maserati used it. Lamborghini chose a better way of doing it, which is this is solid. I actually had one metallurgically analysed some years ago out of a Lamborghini engine to make sure. So this is austenitic stainless steel, and the head is coated in stellite F.
Good.
But they're solid. So they break. The other ones break. Sodium-cooled valves break.
Yeah, because they're a weak point, aren't they? They're thin-walled there.
Yeah, just there.
Right.
So the head falls off them in the combustion chamber. In about half a second, you've got a death rattle par excellence. And that's why you systematically change exhaust valves on Ferraris and Maseratis. The SM was famous for it. The Citroen SM, change exhaust valves. The Merak, all the Ferraris, Daytona, Dino, Boxer. And
there is another one.
But we don't need to change them.
No, VW Beetle. I had a valves breaking one of those. That was quite normal. And they swapped to sodium-filled valves and then quickly swapped back again. And it's the same thing. But I didn't really. No. But that's great. So no problem. So they're super tough.
So they will go again.
I just love how the numbers are on the valves as well, because they're from original build, aren't they? These numbers are on here. So all came back and didn't find anything. All worked.
No, they're all
expected.
Absolutely lovely. The water jacket's in good nick. So we're just waiting for some valve springs.
No, you've gone after our last conversation where I said, it revs to 8,000, and you said, I don't think it does. You've got that Miura there, and you were saying, well, let's have a look at the valve springs. So you thought they were different, didn't you?
Well, you threw me into a bit of a flat spin when you started mentioning 8,000 revs. I didn't quite know what to say, so I thought nothing was probably the best thing.
Yes.
So looking at other Espadas, on your car, a Series 2, there's no red line on the rev counter.
No.
On the Series 3 there is. It's 7,200.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's barely
nothing. It's hardly ticking over.
Exactly. So what I decided to do is do a bit of homework into this. So the two main differences between an Espada and the likes of a Miura or a Countach, which rev to 8,
right,
is the pistons. which we mentioned last time.
Yes.
They're cast and not really up to the job of high revs.
On the Espada.
On an Espada, whereas on a Miura or a Countach they're forged.
Yes.
And the other limitation is the valve springs.
Right.
Because the valves bounce at about 7,300, which is why an Espada can't really go any more. So they're the original valve springs. I've been working with a valve spring, a performance valve spring company up in Lancashire.
Right.
They're the original valve springs, and as you can see, they're separate. They easily move inside each other.
Okay.
Whoops.
So have you got a Miura spring here?
Yes, here's one we took out earlier.
Right.
So the inners are the same.
Right.
But the difference between the Miura and the Espada is about 7 millimeters in length, actually.
So that it's the same strength spring, as it were, it's just longer.
It is, but under load, I've actually got the load readings. There's quite a difference.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
So this is all to do, so when you get to higher res, valve bounce is when this thing is getting a resonance and it's not coming up quick enough to be hit again.
Well, the valve actually hits the seat and bounces off the seat.
Is that way?
Because the spring's not strong enough to pull it closed.
Right. So you end up with stronger springs. So you're suggesting if I want to rev like a Miura to 8,000, I want this Miura spec, this engine.
Yeah.
You can do it by tweaking a valve spring.
Correct.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll have a go at it. Is there any downside? I think because it would add
There is a downside. Yes, you've got it. So here, this is a Miura cam, and this is an Espada cam.
All right.
The Espada cam valve lift in the 1960s on Italian high-performance engines was about 9 millimeters.
Right.
For very high-performance engines, towards the end of the 1960s, it went up to 10.
Right.
So the Miura valve lift is just about bang on 10 mil. Espada's is 9, just to get more air through the valve.
Yes.
But all this puts more pressure on the cam lobe.
Right.
Heavier springs, bigger lift.
Okay.
So these have a habit of wearing, whereas the Espada ones don't.
Right.
So there is a bit of a... But I'm talking thousands and thousands of miles here.
Yeah. So how long was a camshaft life in the Miura? When would you start to see wear? At 50,000?
No, Miura cams tend to about 20,000 miles. Something like
really?
That. Yeah.
Oh gosh. So you're slightly putting me off putting bigger springs on, but I suppose it's a combination of spring and lift, isn't it?
Exactly. So I mean, if we put some, and the problem is people do go over the top because it wasn't an exact science in the 1960s. It was just like, you know. But nowadays we can drill down to a more efficient sort of, so it's not too strong, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's just strong enough.
Go up. Okay. Do the valve springs need replacing anyway? Would we be doing it anyway?
Yes, because they started life at 196.2 newtons, and they're now down to 177.7. So they've gone down 10% in strength anyway.
So we do need to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, the life of a valve spring is about, an old one like this, is realistically about 60,000 miles.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's done I think this engine's done about 80,000 miles or something like that. So, okay. So we'll upgrade the valve springs, and then I can enjoy a few more revs than perhaps a normal Espada would have.
Exactly.
Well,
combined with the pistons, we're good to go.
And the forged pistons then, we've ordered those up, but they're
not here yet.
And they're coming from America. Wow. So what else have we done? We've done some very shiny parts.
Yeah. Well, we sent these away for blasting. So these have been blasted. It's tiny particles of glass between 100 and 150 microns diameter, with a really high pressure water, and it brings them up like that.
Isn't it? Because that looks as though it's been painted in aluminium paint or something, doesn't it? But that is
actually bare alloy.
God.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Isn't it?
And that will age really well.
Wow.
It'll just, it's not going to suddenly go off after 6 months or something.
And there's lots of plating going on the normal, metal parts, just pull those back.
This has all been stripped. Marcus has built these up. They obviously get stripped down to component parts.
Yeah.
There's your crankshaft pulley.
Yeah. Look at that. Stepping back 50 years, isn't it? Or
it
whatever.
Is. Yeah. And look at this. Ta-da!
Oh, it's just a mega casting, isn't it?
It's too nice to go on the car, really. That needs to be by the fireplace, doesn't it?
Look at that tiny threads. What are they, M6 or something?
Well, actually, they're smaller. They are for the baffle. The oil pickup goes here.
Yeah.
And then you've got baffle plates to try and contain the oil splashing round when you're enjoying yourself, creating G-forces.
That is just mega. And that, again, hasn't been painted, that's just the finish.
Bare alloy, yeah.
I'll leave you to put that down. That's great.
A bit of weight in it, isn't there?
Yeah, well, so much going on.
Yeah.
And here are my lovely cam covers.
Yes. They've been sprayed with exactly the right finish of crackle black, high temperature paint. They shouldn't be too shiny, actually. A lot of people make the mistake of making them too shiny. What quite a few customers of Lamborghinis did in period was to ask for this and the Lamborghini name to be highlighted in shiny aluminium. So what they used to do was literally just get a file and file the paint off. But that isn't, some of them left the factory like that, but generally speaking, that's factory finish. So it's up to you. But
they did actually do it in period, ex-factory, for a special customer. They just brought that out.
Exactly, yes.
That's quite
Decisions.
I think we might have to do that one. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be any harm.
The block's all done, that's all painted, ready to go.
So what's the block been away? No, you just push the liners out, so there was no real work to do on that, is there?
No,
we've just the painting.
Yeah, check the mating surfaces, make sure there's nothing horrible going on there.
Right, yeah. There's my turbo that isn't a turbo. It's a water pump. It's a water pump. But if you'd called it a turbo,
I thought it was an air horn to warn.
Is it what it
when
is?
you get to 7? This is the rev limiter.
The rev limiter. Well, that starts up.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Right. Yeah. And all linkages.
Yeah.
That's it. So the engine. Then you're waiting on pistons.
Yes.
Heads are done. Heads are done. I can see a crank and all liners are out there, aren't they?
Yeah,
all ready to go on.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a finished size for the bores from the piston people.
Oh, okay.
To give the right clearance of the running clearance for the new pistons.
So you do those made to measure? The pistons are actually made to measure once you've done that?
Absolutely.
So how much over are they? Just so
it works out, the finished bore is 82.5 instead of 82.
Right.
Which gives you roughly an extra 50 cc. So you really notice, you know, that's an extra scooter pushing behind you. You really notice the difference.
So a couple of horsepower there, 2 or 3. So that's great. Well, it just looks, as you'd love to, it to look. This engine is always a pretty engine, but it's just getting prettier, isn't it? We're doing all this. It's just lovely to resurrect it back to its former glory, really. We're going to do something with the manifolds as well, won't we?
Yes, I've sent them away to this company called Zerkotech, who do. They don't just blast them and paint them. They actually do like a ceramic coating that imprints itself, for want of a better way of looking at it, into the metal structure. Oh, okay. So I was hoping they'd be back for this, but they're not.
Like those? Is that them?
Well, yes. Here's one we made earlier.
Yeah. They've gone for that as well then?
Yes. Well, that's how it came in, actually. This is from Switzerland, this engine. We're restoring the car at the moment. This is a Urama. Same engine, exactly. Yeah. But the finish will look
great.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, really nice. That's just what I want. Not sort of flashy or something, but just looks the part. Good. Now you've been doing things to the rest of the car, haven't you?
Yes.
And the roof I saw was out, so let's go have a look at that. So we have almost a convertible Espada, don't we? Here, the one and only. With a big hole.
There's a bit missing.
Thank God it's not that rain of last time.
Exactly.
That was ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I had a quick look at this before, and I just couldn't get over the workmanship. It's unimaginable how it's not just a hole cut in, with having this lip and how they've done it. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice job. So it's been sort of bent like that and then like that. It's really well done.
How do you do a corner? I mean, it's cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's
you can't even see the join.
No. And there's vents normally on an Espada there.
Yeah, extractor vents for the spent air from the cabin.
Yeah. Anybody wondering what this is? This is my electric aerial, because I didn't want an aerial on the car, so I had this one, and it worked an absolute treat. You only really see it now because its roof's out, but that normally sticks to the top and does a very good job. But Craig's done a great job on this headlining, which is
he has.
Not a lot to work with, was there?
Well, I had my doubts. I really did. I thought, how's he going to do this? Because it hardly even met under here.
Right.
But he's managed to stretch it and stick it, and it looks really good.
Yeah,
actually.
No, I'm really pleased how this is coming together. And I always think we're going to have this tinted, but looking at it now, it's such a spectacular interior that I'm quite tempted to go sort of clear with some sort of sun tint, or I don't know, film that will protect you from direct sunlight. But it does look great. It's such a big hole, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, but in a way, it makes it one step closer to the Marzal, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it just looks spectacular.
Yeah.
Just shows the strength of it.
Oh,
there he is. Yeah.
Right
it's
on
that
cue.
big bugger, isn't it? Just taking off.
Yeah.
I saw it flying in. Actually, it is quite big when you see it in the sky with its droopy nose.
Yeah.
But it's Miura. Gonna have to have a quick look at that. I didn't realise you were going to get this in, but I went down to the RM auction when it was sold because I'd just never seen a more original one. And here you are ripping it apart.
Yeah, well, somebody has to.
So what's happening here? I ought to just say at this point as well, Ian, you've always been really kind on the comments on this Espada series of vids, and you thought, well, I'll have a go at doing a YouTube channel. So there is now a Tyrrell Classic Workshop channel on YouTube, and the first video is you starting work on this, isn't it?
That's right.
And I think it's a great series. I'm going to really, can't wait to see what happens, because you're never going to see a Miura stripped down, and one as original as this. It's just mega.
Thank you.
So what's the instruction? What are you going to do here?
Well, it was. I thought nothing of it, because my cars sell at auction all the time. I keep an eye on them, of course.
Yeah.
And I got an email just out of the blue from the gentleman who's bought the car. Never met him before, never spoken to him. And he said, "How much would you charge me to restore my Miura?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, fortunately, having done a few, I know where we're up to with them." So he said, "Okay, fine, you've got the job." Then it said, in next email, he said to me, "What would you do to the car?" And I said, "As little as possible, really."
Yes.
And he said, "Fine, you've got the job." And next thing, it arrived from London.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
just a privilege, isn't it? Because I saw the family down there, and it was, it was absolutely worship, this car, and it wasn't. It was bought when they were of value, where you could just use them, and it was just bought to use, wasn't it? That was the beauty of this thing.
Yeah, they've gone mad. They've gone mad in value.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of the most original left. So we're trying to go for the conservation rather than restoration aspect of it, really. It's a lovely thing.
So the engines come out, obviously.
Yeah, this has never been apart. Never been apart from 1969. So it's all original, all original gaskets that they used in period and things like that. So that's how we can tell.
Right.
And the way everything comes apart, it's just like dink. Everything just really undoes beautifully.
It's lovely. Yeah. Because it was, it's barn fine, but it was stored reasonably well, wasn't it?
It
really
was.
Wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just look at the front clamshell off as well.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the difference between an S and SV. There's something different fundamentally, isn't it, in the construction of them?
Well, the first 125 Miuras, the P400s originally, this bit was made out of 0.9mm thick chassis gauge steel.
Then really quite thin.
Oh, very thin.
Right.
And they were so bad, if you jacked it up on one corner, the whole car would go like a corkscrew. So
that's not good.
Scrub that.
Yeah.
So Gianpaolo Dallara, the brilliant Gianpaolo Dallara, after 125 cars, he upped it to 1mm, and that made a huge difference.
Right. So that's what this would be made of.
This is a 1mm thick chassis. Yeah. Right. Then on the SV, because they always battle with structural problems on the Miura. On the SV, they made triangular gusset plates that went down like that.
Oh, okay.
And with these whizzy little holes in them, just to try and stop the whole thing moving.
And I can remember when we were looking around my Espada, you were saying this suspension is the same on a Miura,
give or take.
And an Espada.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over that. Looking at this, I noticed it hasn't got ventilated discs like the Espada.
Yeah, well, I mean, it only does 170 miles an hour.
I know. Well, it's the world first on the Espada was the ventilated disc.
That's
and
right.
I actually thought, how much were they when they were new? Because I had a suspicion that Miura, the Espada was more expensive. And looking at this, this is a motor from February 1971. The Espada lists at £10,950, and the Miura S £10,860. So this is a cheaper car than the Espada. I don't know. Who knew? It's probably 10 times the value now, at least.
Yeah.
And I also looked. If you look at a Ferrari, a Daytona, 9,167. So you could buy, if you bought a Daytona, you'd saved yourself nearly £2,000 on a Espada.
Wow.
And you could probably buy a Jaguar for £2,000 and a Dino £5,400. If only we'd known. Yeah, how much you would have made there.
Yeah. Well, they made roughly the same amount of Daytonas as Espada. They were both about 1,200 each. But the Espada was a much longer production run, 10 years.
I do wonder how many Espadas are actually left, because they all got broken for parts, really, and just rushed it in.
I remember seeing one advertised in the Exchange in Mart in 1982 with a Toyota Celica 2-litre engine in it.
That's just, he was ahead of his time, downsizing, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what he should be doing. Well, it's been great to catch up, see what's going on at the workshop. I think the next time we'll be coming will be when that engine is started to be assembled. But for now, check out Ian's channel again, Tyrrell Classic Workshop. I'll put a link down below so you can see where it is. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, there'll be more videos coming along very soon.